Okay, we're about to pull out a gas tank and do a fuel pump on a 1993 Cherokee XJ 4.0 Country. This was my daughter's. I sold it. Um, but now we're down to fixing. It's got a long start problem. You know, it cranks for a long time, and what we found was that it doesn't build any fuel pressure. Um, Pretty much the pump's bleeding off internally. So, the customer got a brand new pump assembly, and we're going to put that in. So, it's tight under here. I can't get a good angle on it, so I'm holding it, so I apologize for the shakiness. But first thing I do is, right here you can see the gas tank straps, and I believe it's a 15 millimeter. And you want to take that all the way down to the end on both of them, or as far as it'll go, because we still haven't done any hoses or anything. This way it'll give us a little bit easier access to get the hoses disconnected. You got your feed for the fuel pump, you got your fuel line, send and return, and a vacuum line. This will be the 8th one I've done on this truck. We cannot get a good pump on this. It seems like every other year we were putting pumps on it, but we went with instead of the Airtex was garbage. And they even admitted there was a problem with it, but there's nothing they can do. They blamed it on the gas. Well, anyway, we're going with a Delphi this time, and hopefully that'll work, because, you know, they're not available from Jeep anymore. Pretty much nothing on this is. Anyway, I will keep taking shots here, and of course, if you have any questions, please comment below, and I will get back to you. But it's fairly straightforward. It's got a few tricky parts to it. Has less than a quarter of a tank. I may or may not drain it. I may just drop it and then drain it and just hot wire it and suck all the fluid out of it, because it still does work. It just doesn't hold fuel pressure at all. All right, I'll be back. Okay, the next step after you got everything off on the back is you pull the two fuel filler lines off. It is, the stock Jeep will be a 6 millimeter, and what I use is this. The first one you can probably get with a screwdriver. The second one you got to use this and shorten up the extension, and you got to do it by feel. You can't actually see it, but you pull these two off. Now, as a side note, what you might want to do is pull these two 10 millimeters and these two 10 millimeters and take the cover off the fuel filler. The only reason is you get a little leverage there to pull the hoses back, which is cool, but there's very little gas, maybe 1/8 of a tank of a tank in here, so it's not as heavy. But I used to do these on a lift. I could do this in less than an hour, but being on the ground and old now, that it makes it a little harder. I did take the one strap off. I disconnected it on the other side completely, pulled it off, and then took it out of the deal. So the strap's gone. It's sitting over here. I don't know if you can see that. My foot, the big foot's in the way. Okay, so what I did was pulled the strap off, and it let it kind of hang, and it puts tension on it. I've done this gas tank so many times that these hoses just slide off because I keep penetrating fluid on them. So I did spray them again. I use PB Blaster. You can use WD-40, lithium, whatever the hell you want to use. But it just makes them easier to slide off because it gets some crud in there and so forth. But I slid them out, and now what I'm going to do is put the jack under it and take that side off, and it'll probably just fall out, but the hell with it. And then I'll drain it and show you what I'm doing from there. now what I'm doing now is evacuating the tank. If you have a similar setup with a, you know, generic pump or whatever, and you can pump the shit out, do it, but you want to do it, makes it easier to put it back in. Trust me on this one. Anyway, I just got this little PPS, and it didn't have very much gas in it, but I'm getting all the rest of it out. And you got your, comes with a new ring. This one. There we go. And you just slide it around to these little needles. Little needles. Make sure it's all good on. And then you get your little Belinsky here. Billy Baru, whatever you got. Have to adjust as you go, as long as it stays in these little needles. There's the old ring. Oh shit. Okay. Hopefully you can see this. The sun's so bright I can't see the screen or anything else. Basically I hooked up the fuel pressure gauge, and I just finished. There's a gauge. I just finished this fuel pump job, and I'm going to test all my work here. So what we're looking for, let me put this back in here. What we're looking for is 30 psi running. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the fuel pressure regulator vacuum and see if it jumps up. It should jump up 10 psi plus or minus 1 or 2 psi to make sure it's doing what it should do. The original reason we were doing it is because after all the diagnostics we figured out that it was bleeding back through the pump, the fuel pump, through the feed, and it wasn't holding pressure, so it had really long startup times. So the hell is that? Anyway, I'm going to start it up and let's see how it goes. Wow. Okay, so required fuel pressure for a 93 Jeep 4.0 is 31. We're running at 36, 37, 37. Alright, I'm going to shut it off, and the gauge should hold pressure for about 20 minutes. I'm not going to film all that, but I'm going to shut it off and see if it holds pressure.